Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and double honors due to Yahweh, by Hashem HaMashiach, wa Malak Yahweh Shai. Secondly, this is Brother Yardan, WFI Detroit, coming back at you with yet another cold cut. Today in this cold cut, as you can see in the title below, right, we'll be touching on the independent black woman. And why is she so independent in these last days? What's the reason? I mean, did she just wake up and become independent? Or is there a actual cause of this nature? And that's why we have the Willie Lynch letter, because there is an actual cause. There's an actual reason why we see so many so-called independent black women just becoming masculine and leaving the household and forbidding to marry. Now, of course, we're going to bring out precepts, accounts, of course, this letter as well, Bible verses. We're going to bring out a lot of information, so buckle up, bring out your pencils, your highlighters, whatever you can to take note and remember. All right, this is very important to know in these last days for men, because you have to be sure and make sure that you're not taking and marrying a so-called, as the society say, an independent black woman or independent Israelite woman, right? Because that's moving in a spirit that's contrary to thus saith the Lord. And we're going to explain why. That's not to say, Eve can't know how to do nothing and has to keep her mouth shut 24/7 and put her head down. Nobody's saying all of that. Nobody's saying Eve can't have a job and, sisters can't do X, Y, and Z. But this letter will explain, this is pretty much going to be self-explanatory. This letter is going to explain what I mean when I say a so-called independent black woman. So again, this is the Willie Lynch letter. For those who may want to know the origins, Esau, of course, Esau the liar, he's going to say, well, it's unknown. It's been exposed as a hoax. No one really knows. Let's just not really read it. It's not real. He's going to say that, so we don't read it. He's going to say it's not real, so we don't, kind of chew the meat and spit out the bones. He's going to say that to water it down and wash his hands. But in reality, whether it's real or not, it's real in a sense of it affecting our people. All right. So I personally believe it's real. Esau's a liar. I can't trust my enemies. That's Sirach, the 12th chapter. I'm not trusting my enemies. So let's dive into it. Right? Let's make a slave. The breaking process of the African woman. Now, of course, for those who may be watching this for the first time, we're not Africans. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American women are Israelites. They are the true Israelites according to the Bible. We are the Israelites, even the men, right? If you are so-called black, Hispanic, and or Native American. All right, I'm using the term so-called because nobody is actually the color of my sweatshirt. No one's actually a continent and a country, right, that are named after two white people. But in reality, we would be the Jews according to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. And in that chapter is a list of curses that a specific demographic goes through or went through and is still going through. And it's not the Asian man. It's not the East Indian man. It's not the so-called white man. It's not the Arabic man. It's not the Japanese man. It's not the Chinese man. It's not the modern day Egyptians. It's the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right? Esau, in his wicked mind, he's referring to as Africans because he took us from the continent of Africa. Just wanted to make that transparent. The breaking process of the African woman. And if I say African, as we continue to read throughout this video, I'm saying it for educational purposes. For those who have an ear will understand that I'm really speaking of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because this letter isn't exclusive only to the black woman, but also to the Hispanics and Native Americans as well. Because they too fit the curses. The breaking process of the African woman. Then take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desire willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. So Esau, the so-called white man, for those who may not know, is a mastermind of tactics and warfare. After all, he was blessed with the sword in Genesis. And when you're blessed with the sword, that doesn't only mean you're skilled in stabbing and slaying and moving troops in this direction, in that direction. When you're skilled with the sword, you're going to be strategic when it comes to tackling your opponent. And there's many levels to war. There's biological war, there's psychological warfare, there's bio warfare, there's guerrilla warfare. There's so many ways to conquer a nation, a city, a village, even a family. So in this letter, we see Esau conquering a family. But moving on. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female. We have reversed relationships. In her natural uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized male, and she would have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring, and would raise the female offspring to be dependent like her. Nature had provided time with this balance. Now, with that, we understand that even Esau, the so-called white man, the decrepit, nasty, creepy cave beast, Salakia, that decrepit cave beast can understand that nature itself teaches and puts us in an environment where the female will be dependent and the man has to provide and nurture, provide for the family, not only physically but spiritually as well, and in any other aspect. But bottom line, even Esau understands that there's supposed to be a true structure to the household. However, as you can read in the highlighted teal, we reversed nature by burning and pulling one civilized slave apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. This is psychological warfare. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed. So Esau destroyed the male image through buck breaking, through whipping, right? He did all of this in the presence of the female to psychologically destroy her, to make her just not dependent upon her. That's why they buck broke so many men. That was another wicked ass tactic, right? That was another device used to destroy the household. Because the female, she's not going to look at the man she's not going to look at him the way she used to. Because she knows what happened. He knows what happened. The kids know what happened. So Salakia, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. So after seeing all these atrocities, she's thinking in her head like, damn, I'm better off by myself. Esau pushed her into a corner with devices to make her be independent. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young man's life, she would psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. All right? That's very important. It's a reason why I highlighted that. She would psychologically train him to be mentally weak. It's a reason why a lot of our men are mentally / emotionally weak. It's a reason why you bump into a brother and he do this. He give you that face and ball up his fist and clench his gun. We're reading the origins Why are people act the way they do today? Now, in other words, we call it a curse. In Deuteronomy 20th chapter, we refer to them as curses. But on a carnal level, those curses were made manifest through this letter and through the hand of Esau. So again, she was psychologically trained to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Look at the prisons. What do you see? The highest incarceration demographic is the so-called blacks and Hispanics, if I'm not mistaken. But nevertheless, you see a lot of so-called black men in prison. And what is there to do in prison? To work out. You work out all day. They're physically strong. They're dependent. So like they're physically strong, but mentally weak. And that's not like shaming or like, spitting upon them. We're literally telling you what Esau did and how he set it up. It's a reason like that. All right. I'm not saying every, so-called black man is in prison is like a fool, but the majority of our people are without knowledge. So reading on, because she has become physically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. What have you got? A strong, independent black woman. This leads up to the title of this video, right? What is a strong, independent black woman? Does the Lord deal with strong, independent black women? Does a man of the ancient world, will he want a strong, independent black woman? And again, as even Esau, the wickedest man on earth, even he understands that there is nature, that nature itself will teach you that there's roles, but they reversed it willingly. And so as a result, you have a woman compassing a man, which is also a curse in Jeremiah 31:22. So let's bring it out. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. And this is made manifest even unto this very day in these last days, where a woman will psychologically and physically, well, not physically, but psychologically will try to compass a man. And in some cases, maybe physically. In some cases, physically, where she may try to lay hands on him, compass a man, and become what? Become the head of the household. Become the head of the household. Become that strong, independent black woman. Where she don't need nobody. And I'll tell you another thing that Esau did, and that was bring gifts. In America, Esau showers the masses with gifts. Now in Rome, they called it bread and circus, right? I simply call it what it is. It's a gift. Even the scriptures say so. A gift which destroys the heart. That's in Exodus. Let's bring it out. I believe it's 32:8. A gift destroyeth the heart. And what's the modern day gift? We're going to bring it out. This is Exodus 32. That's not it. Exodus 23:8. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise and perverteth the words of the righteous. Right? And that can apply to a lot of levels. A lot of people can use gifts to destroy your heart and to, pretty much pull you away from that which is good. There's another one. I'll bring out one more. Yeah, Sirach 20:10. There is a gift that shall not profit thee, and there is a gift whose recompense is double. Right? So a certain gift that Esau provided our people is or a woman is I won't strictly say woman, but a certain gift is liberty, right? In this society, they gave a lot of women a whole lot of liberty, right? That's not me. Before people get in the comments, he's a misogynist. He said a woman can't have liberty. First of all, the scriptures say, "Give not much liberty to a wicked woman." So the Lord, I mean, everything I'm saying is going to be predicated off the scriptures, and we're going to prove it. We're going to bring it out. We're going to bring that out too. For those who say, "Well, I believe in God. I believe." Well, hold up. If you believe in the Lord, you believe in the Bible, then you got to take heed to it. This is Sirach. And it's in multiple chapters as well. And it's not only to the women, it's also to your sons too. You know, this can apply to your son. Because it's saying Sirach 30 and 11, give him no liberty in his youth and weep not at his follies. So even with your daughter as well, right? It even goes into how a man will lose sleep watching over his daughter. So let's pull that up. This is Sirach 25 and 25. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. So in this society, Esau just gave Eve way too much liberty to the point where it's actually legal to walk around topless. Where it's legal to finesse the system. Where it's legal to do a whole lot of other things that are not convenient and contrary to the Lord. And certain things that that are beneficial for everyone, such as school, right? It turns into a wicked gift unto certain women because they take it, abuse it, and then become get a lot of money, and then feel like they don't need a man because that's it. And a lot of people may be thinking and wondering, well, you sound like all the people of today, and that's crazy. I mean, the Lord said, "Thou shalt not lie." We're literally telling you how this society is. And nobody, to an extent, again, our woman was hardwired to believe these things and to think these things. And don't worry, we're going to get on the men on the next video, right? The effeminate man in these modern days. But now we're going to touch on the so-called black women, so-called black Hispanic Native American woman in this society. This is Judith 5 and 20. Now I'm bringing Judith out to also demonstrate how Esau, by nature, is very strategic when it comes to plotting on Israel and making sure he has a strong downfall. It reads this in Judith chapter 5, verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. It's plain upon tables. By nature, Esau the nations will plot against us by any way, any means necessary, just so we can be in ruin and be subject unto them. How much more the Willie Lynch letter, which also reads, you've got the so-called black woman out front and the man behind and scared, like it says in Jeremiah 31 and 22. And the man behind and scared. This is the perfect situation for sound sleep economics. Which is why even in a lot of cartoons and TV shows, you see the woman kind of being a boss, being the head of the household, being a head honcho, the head Negro in charge. You see it in a lot of TV shows. They make the husband kind of dumb and dopey and kind of goofy, and a woman kind of real strong. No, not wrong with Eve being intelligent and wise, but we see how they do it. They doing it on purpose, right? You see it in Family Guy. You see the male protagonist just dumb, always behind the woman. You see it in Simpsons. You see it in certain cartoons. It's like this is all devices to manipulate the masses, and that's why we even ask people here and there like who runs the household on our highways and byways. You wouldn't believe how many times so-called black men would say, "Well, that's the boss." Well, and brothers who've been out there on the highways and byways, you've seen it for your own eyes. How many times? If I had a dollar every time a woman kind of pulled away her husband, hey, yeah, I wouldn't be under the curses. I'd be in a mansion right now. If I had a dollar every time I seen that, it's sad. Oh, happy life, happy wife. Oh, I gotta do what the missus say. I'm in the doghouse. Brother, why are you in the doghouse? What are you talking about? You in the doghouse. That's a shame. You you in the doghouse. Wow. So Esau did a number on us. And again, that's why you can be upset at Eve today, but you gotta understand it's the curses. It's like dealing with Jake, effeminate Jake. Jake, you just under the curses. It's sad to see. But through this video, Lord willing, Abaratazar, right? That is to say, Lord's will in the Hebrew, that Israel may understand and show this video to a brother, a sister in the world, whatever the case may be, and can see that Esau, the so-called white man, manipulated our mind to not only hate each other, but to hate each other in our own family as well. Because even as you continue to read, it says this: before the breaking process, we had to alertly on the guards at all times. Now we sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, this woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her infant slave process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time the boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a life sound and efficient work and reproduction of a unit of labor force. Right? And this sort of ties into Jake today saying, well, I gotta chase the bread, I gotta chase the money. Bread is life. I gotta do what I gotta do. That's the only way I can make it out. I gotta get the money. I needs the money. Continually, though, and man, it's so much. It's so many layers to it. It's a damn onion. So even Jake today, they'll show the utmost respect to Esau in the workforce. The moment they see their brothers, which one, nigga? You said what? They want to deepen their voice. They want to just turn into a damn demon. So we're showing Israel through the Spirit their curses and how they came about or are being made manifest on a carnal level. Continually through the breaking of uncivilized savage, by throwing the female savage to a frozen psychological state of independency, by killing the productive male image, by creating a submissive, a dependent mind of the male savage, we have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever. Unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the female savages, we show what we mean by example. Take the case of two economic slave units and examine them closely. And the phenomenon today is us waking up. The phenomenon is the waters. This is living waters. The phenomenon is Yahweh Shema was shy, right? And through keeping the commandments, the chains are broken and the curses are lifted off of us. That's the modern day phenomenon. Let's continue real quick. We're almost done. We bred two males and two females. Then we take the males from them, keep them moving and working. Say the one female bear a dang bear another female, and the other bears a male. Both females being without influences of um, the male image, froze with an independent psychology, will raise their offspring into reverse positions. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her through harm by her and negotiate at her will. The one with the male offspring, she being frozen with the subconscious fear of his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak but physically strong. In other words, body over mind. That's that body over mind. And that's why, a lot of, and you'll see that in certain, even Kevin Samuels was around. You had a lot of women, they'll hold their sons so tight and close, even when they're a lot older. Mama's boy, I can't remember the exact term, but they don't really want to let him go because that's the only like male that they have in their life. That's on the psychological level. And if it sounds too foreign or crazy or made up or conspiracy, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. You can see all the videos on YouTube if you want. When you start connecting the dots, you damn, it is what it is. But nevertheless, through the Willie Lynch letter, we see a lot of wicked devices that was utilized to keep our people in a wicked mindset, in a contrary mindset. And so, Lord willing, Israel was edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and may have gained some type of understanding.